What is up, guys, and welcome to episode number 7 of the F1 2019 Career Mode Championship. This is the Monaco Grand Prix, the jewel in the Formula 1 crown, and we are expecting some big things in this round. We had some good momentum last couple of rounds, got a podium in Baku, as you can see there. Showed decent pace in Spain, but I think the race pace really let us down. But here, I am looking to turn my form around. Another upgrade heading into this race, so the development race always continues. But before we get into Monaco, I'm going to change my helmet. But I'm also going to make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. I was looking at my analytics. 50% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. So make sure you do that so that you can see my stuff. Anyway, let's do this.
The Monaco Grand Prix is upon us and we're heading into the weekend with the first of the practice sessions. It's certainly not the easiest of tracks to navigate, so today is going to be incredibly valuable to the teams.
I've had a chat with Carl about the new parts and we're happy that they've been integrated into the car okay. With any luck, you'll be able to feel the improvement, so give them a try.
Awesome. So, we have an engine upgrade, oddly enough, that has gone on the car in time for this race. Very, very untimely, I know, but it's going to help us later on in the season. We start off practice, and what do you know? We have a big clonk with the car already. Now, I know this is a bit of a meme on my channel at this point, but I genuinely didn't have my brake pedal calibrated, as you saw from the telemetry there. I put my foot on the brake, nothing happened, and then when I did press it even further hard, it went 100% and fully locked up and set me in the barrier. So there you go. Always make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you calibrate your brake pedal, possibly in the pit lane where it is safe, and don't leave it until you're going at about, I don't know, 150 miles an hour with barriers either side of you. That would be a smart idea. But anyway, after that, we managed to compose ourselves. We got on with our race weekend. This is, I think, practice 2. I did the bulk of my practice programs in the first session, and now we're focusing really on setup and just trying to gather speed here in this second session, since this is the most representative session, being practice 2 in the afternoon. Qualifying is held exactly 24 hours later, so the track conditions are going to be very, very similar. Same too with the race. That's why practice 2 is probably more important to do your more important running, and looks like we got the most out of that with third place in practice. So not too bad. We're 7/10 away from Sebastian Vettel, and I think on average that is slightly closer to the front of the field than what we are normally. I think we're normally around a second away. So not a bad effort, and I still feel like I could probably get more out of the car.
We're here at the magical Circuit de Monaco for one of the most challenging qualifying sessions on the Formula 1 calendar. Who can add their name to the illustrious list of Monte Carlo pole sitters here today?
I don't think it's going to be us, but we will try our best to perform a miracle. You know, in the past, in previous games, you know, you really could drag your car up so far up the grid versus the other AI, but this year, it's a different story. I got to say, the AI are much harder this year, at least in career mode. The flow of Monaco as well, I've got to say, is actually quite different. The way that the setups work is so odd. You can see this first qualifying lap here is very wild. It's a bit all over the place. The hairpin, I think for me anyway, it's a lot harder to rotate the car through there, so I'm struggling for understeer. Chucking the car into back at high speed is also a bit wayward. Like, I kind of like lose feeling in the steering, like the back end might be stepping out or like not completely stable, like the rear end is sliding or something. I don't know, it just feels a little bit weird. And then I can't like change direction through the swimming pool chicane right up here, this one right here. It's just a bit slower through here. So yeah, the flow of this place is certainly different, and it's taken a little bit of adjusting to get used to. Missed the apex by a mile there at the final corner. I swear that's probably my weakest corner on the circuit. I never really nail the final corner, and when I do, it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. But anyway, we did an 11.3. That was on medium tires, so a fantastic effort to get through to qualifying 3 on a set of medium tires. So that gives us a lot of flexibility in the race. We can run quite deep into our first stint and then potentially overcut some people. But I thought, since I managed to qualify in Q3 with medium tires, I thought, let's test 110 AI and truly see if on my best day I can go toe-to-toe with the AI. And if I can't beat my teammate, or if he beats me significantly, then we know for certain that 110 is no joke this year. So let's see what we can do. I think we've got 3 sets of fresh soft compound tires. You get 1 additional set from the FIA if you make it into this session, but I don't think we'll actually have time to use all 3. I think at best we'll have 2 runs at this. So let's see how this unfolds. Through the final corner again, missing the apex. I think it's inevitable with me. Across the line, it is a 1:11.1, and that is my personal best of the weekend. I think I pushed to get a second lap in on this set of tires, but it all just kind of fell away in the third sector. The tires really went off. The softs, I've got to say, are very, very, I don't know, fragile. You really can't get 2 laps out of a set of softs, no matter what the circuit, I've noticed. Well, you can, but it's just, the tire wear is ridiculous. Sometimes you can do 1-2 hot laps and you've got like 20 or 30% tire wear just after those laps alone. So it's not really worth stretching or killing the life of the tires just for an extra lap in qualifying, especially if you're starting on them. Q3 for me, I guess it doesn't matter, but I guess I'd just be wasting time if I pressed on with another lap and didn't really improve by much. But anyway, this is what I think will be my final lap. Unfortunately, I haven't got the timing quite right. I thought I'd be able to get another 2 runs in if I squeezed it out, because I left the pit lane with 6 minutes to go, and I thought if I'm lucky I might get 2 runs in here. But it's just going to be that awkward phase where it's only going to be 1, and there's going to be quite a lot of time left in the session. But anyway, attacking the final sector of Monaco. Again, pretty hesitant through the final chicane, so I'm not entirely comfortable with the car yet. I had like little hesitations here and there. Final corner was actually nice this time. A bit of wheel spin on exit. Hot lap up to the line, and that is a 1:10.8. So into the 10s, which is nice to see. We get to the end of the session, and Ricardo goes and beats me by 0.6. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 110 AI is no joke in F1 2019. That was a good lap. It was by no means perfect, and I feel like I could improve by a little bit, but not by 0.6. So with that said, I feel like we are due for a permanent difficulty change. We will be going down to 107 for this race, and potentially for future episodes until I can get a better setup or a better car, like as in the car upgrades further, or an update comes out which might change the way that the AI perform in the race or qualifying. Either way, this is what we'll set it to at the moment. So it's good. It's amazing that the AI are too fast for me now. It gives me a bit of a ceiling to aim for, you know, a couple months down the line, you know, still 6 months, 8 months, 10 months into the game, I'll still be challenged, I feel like, on this game. That's the hope. But I don't want to speak too early. I've said this in the past anyway. It's time for the race for Monaco.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Can I get your take on Ferrari? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
What are you trying to say, Jeff? Are you saying this is going to be, you know, open lobby levels of carnage in a turn 1? Because the AI are more aggressive this year, so I'm interested to see if they will be able to overtake today. We're going to go for the one stop. This is the strategy we've been playing for, what we've set up for in qualifying. So let's see if it pays off. 5 red lights, and away we go here in Monaco. We're going for a big gamble. This is the place to do it, so let's see if we'll be happy by the end of the day. Let's see, 3 wide into turn 1, just casually. I think Sainz backed out of it very early. Perez gets a position, so his risk has certainly paid off. He's on the softs as well, so good start for him. For me, though, I just felt like the mediums had no purchase off the line, and as well with this first lap, they kind of felt a little bit cold, like they weren't really ready for this race. I had to kind of wake them up a little bit, but we're still keeping track with the AI at the moment. The hairpin could have maybe gone for a desperate lunge on Perez up into not turn 1, but into the hairpin, but that probably wasn't the smartest move to do. I'm here for the long game. I can afford to be a little bit patient here and see if there are any gaps that emerge. There's certainly one that's emerged right in front of me, because I am the big slow boy in this first stint. This is odd. This is very odd. Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix, speaking of odd. What's the issue here? It looks like it's reliability. I thought maybe it would have been a crash, someone going for a desperate lunge, but no, he's completely carked it there with the engine, and he's out of the race. So, will this be a safety car? Almost every time there's a retirement, safety car normally comes out, but not on this occasion, and we must press on. So early doors in this Monaco Grand Prix, I think Sebastian Vettel is leading by an absolute mile over Charles Leclerc, who is, like me, struggling to come to terms with the pace of this race so far, and we're just desperately trying to hold on to the challenging pack, really. Here comes Raikkonen, round the outside into the Nouvelle chicane. That was close. I think I'll have to get a replay of that just to see how close it was. He was very, very speedy in a straight line. I think I'm running like 10.9 or 10.8 wings, so I'm an absolute boat on the straights. Yeah, made me very, very vulnerable there. Came dangerously close to losing the position. There's just no room there to run side by side, so Raikkonen had to cut the chicane and, yeah, just wait for a better avenue, I suppose, is what his strategy will have to be. Maybe get the move done into turn 1 or up the hill into Casino Square. That's a really powerful place to overtake, I would say, especially on a car that's struggling for straight line speed. But you can see we're pushing on here. I'm trying to make pace, but it's not exactly working at the moment. I say that. I say that, and we just set our personal best.
Perez is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 4.2 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 6 laps old. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 15.5. You're closing by 0.4 per lap.
Okay, so this might be the turning point. We just had a 14.9. We're 0.4 faster than Sergio Perez on the last lap, so it could be a case of the mediums phasing into the race and the softs now starting to die off. So this gives me a lot of confidence and a lot of encouragement for the rest of this stint, as I think Carlos Sainz is out of this race. Another engine failure. So this is Monaco. We're 6 races into the championship now, and this is the last race. This is the race where you chuck in your worst engine, or you will have had your engine in for the first 6 races up until this point, and you're really just trying to eke out the last bit of reliability out of this power unit before you sack it off for the rest of the season. I put in a new power unit for Baku, I think, and maybe Spain, but so I'm not exactly struggling for power units at this point, but what I am struggling for is my gearbox. That I think might be an issue later on in this race. A few people diving in for their stops. Devin Butler, Valtteri Bottas, particularly him, he got held up massively in his pit stall, so that's a lot of lost time for him. Daniel is now responding on the next lap, and he's going on to another set of soft compound tyres, so he is well and truly committing to the 2-stop today, which around Monaco you really don't want to do, so I really don't see any way out for Daniel now. He might get trapped behind that massive queue of cars you can see on the minimap just before. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. He's already made his stop, and he's going up the inside. Seb, what was that for? What was the need for that? Here's the replay. Well, here's the what actually happened on my screen live. I left him tons of room on the run into the Nouvelle chicane, and he's literally just got the apex completely wrong. He's hit the inside barrier. I think he's lost a bit of his front wing. He did touch me as well. I had to cut the chicane because clearly I couldn't make the corner. Vettel was there and pushed me out wide. So Vettel has thrown away the Monaco Grand Prix because of this. Unbelievable scenes. Here's your thumbnail, photo mode. You can see as we get a close look of Vettel's front wing, he chipped it on the left and now he's chipped it on the right. So he's lost both end plates, and that's almost certainly going to be at least orange levels of front wing downforce lost. So he'll be diving into the pits at the end of this lap. He's going to throw away all of his track position and he won't win this race. There is absolutely no way. He's got that so wrong. He's turned in way too early. I left him space. But simply he just turned in way too early and, yeah, just kind of pinballed himself between the barrier and myself. And that will be the end of his day, I'd say. So, what does this mean for us now? Are we now in contention to win this race now the leaders are kind of self-destructing? We've got Charles Leclerc in P3, who is the nearest contender. He's doing a 2-stop today. He's already stopped. He's on his new set of soft compound tyres. He's now going for a move on Raikkonen into turn 1. Fantastic. That's the kind of move a player would do. That's the kind of move I normally do at Monaco in previous years of career mode. And he's just done it there. So another fabulous display of what the AI can do this year. And already, Leclerc has cruised up onto the back of me. Thankfully, he has a bit more sense than Vettel and doesn't go for the dive there. But here he goes. He's got a nice run into the back. I'm going to have to let him go here. That would have resulted in an airplane crash, I reckon, if we would have turned in on him there. So Leclerc takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He takes the initiative, but it's not over for him just yet. He's not, out of the woods, so to speak, yet. He needs to build out a pit stops lead over me to kind of clear me and then rejoin in front of me. And then after that, he can kind of relax. But this is the trouble that Daniel Ricciardo has got himself into by pitting early. Vettel is also in that queue as well. So all these people who are one-stopping, like myself, in slower cars like the Williams, Toro Rossos, Force Indias, they're all playing it long like I am. But in doing so, they're holding up the people, the leaders, who are doing 2-stops. So this is where our strategy today is really going to get us out of trouble and potentially get us on the podium. Dare I say it, maybe even the win at this point. So I'm just going to knuckle down and try and push as much as I can. But with Norris pitting on the last lap, that kind of released the queue of fast cars. So I had to respond on the next lap. And in we go for our one and only stop today. If all goes well, we won't be coming back in today. And we'll stretch these hard compound tyres to the end of the race. So we get jumped by Force India and Verstappen. I think Verstappen has already made his stop. But crucially, we rejoin in front of Albon and the massive, absolutely ginormous train that we were just looking at on the replay cameras a lap ago. So we jump our teammate, we jump a Ferrari, we jump a Mercedes, a Haas. All these cars that were ahead of us in qualifying and at the start of this race, we've now cleared them. And really, the only people in front of us now are Verstappen and Leclerc.
Daniel's in the pits.
So this will be interesting. Verstappen now pulling the same move that Leclerc did on Raikkonen. So, yeah, you can overtake here at Monaco on the F1 game. And even the AI can do it now too. So even though we might potentially get the lead back here from Verstappen and Leclerc, the slow straight line speed that I have and the speediness of their cars on fresh tyres could mean that we will still see a change for the lead towards the back end of this race. So this race could be anyone's at this point. Let's see if we can get a nice exit, putting pressure on Stroll here, who is still on his old medium tyres. I think he might be pitting this lap, but I don't know for certain. Could we go for a move potentially into Raskas? No, I'm not close enough, so we'll have to maybe set up the move into turn 1. But no, he pits actually, so there we go. He releases us and we can get on with our race. So that was very relieving in the end that he did pit. And we can push on now with our hard compound tyres and see what the pace is like on these. But meanwhile, the next objective, or target, if you will, is Devon Butler. He's the car immediately behind me. So we might be battling him potentially. But the thing with Devon is, I don't exactly know what his pit stop or pit strategy situation is. He's on mediums, so he could potentially go to the end, but they might be super dead by the end of the race. So what I'm assuming is he's doing exactly what the other AI cars are doing, and possibly going to be stopping again for another set of mediums to then run to the end of the race. But I am going to defend this position quite hard. Actually, no, never mind.
We're looking at some gearbox wear. Try to keep your number of shifts to a minimum.
Devon Pitts got gearbox issues, so it's all starting to unfold here in Monaco. I was going to defend my position anyway, regardless of whether he needed to pit or not, because he might be, in any case, coming onto the back of us once again. Just depends on how fast he's going to be on fresh medium tyres, but this is the next group of cars behind me, so in any case, Devon will encounter traffic if he wants to get to me. Team radio.
A mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears.
Okay, let's go through the gears, see which one it is. Not sure.
Okay, bad news on the gearbox. The team are trying everything they can think of, but they're not optimistic. Just keep at it, do your best. That's all we can ask.
I think it might be one of the lower gears. Because I'm going through 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it's 8th. No, it's second gear that we're missing. We just went from third to first. So that's going to make things very, very tricky now as we go through the hairpin. Portiere, all the middle sector corners, like right through here. This is all second gear, so this is going to make life very difficult for us. And also rotating the car as we get to Raskas. I shift into second gear and then quickly downshift to first as well to get through there. This is also a second gear corner. But now on lap 31, we've skipped forward a little bit of time and we have second gear back again. So, there we go. Okay, that was a bit stressful for a couple of laps, I'm not going to lie. My whole flow and momentum was greatly affected by that, because when you tell yourself not to shift gears too much, and when you change the way that you do things, especially at a place like this, can really knock around your rhythm. And I gotta say, I think I lost like a second a lap just by having to consciously not shift gears as much and use higher gears. But I did get used to it, and then eventually second gear came back, so that was quite handy. But here goes Verstappen. He's on fresh medium tyres. He's got the run onto Casino Square. He's going to do me around the outside, isn't he? Here he goes. Oh, he's got the move done. He's got the move done. I had to actually brake there to avoid running into the back of Verstappen. So he gets the move done. This was a very feisty move from the Dutchman around the outside. He gets it stick. He gets it stuck. I can't believe that. That's insane. From an AI driver. I know I keep saying this, but every time they pull off a move that I don't really expect that they'll manage to do, it just completely catches me off guard. That's bloody amazing. Verstappen is through for P2 in this Monaco Grand Prix, and he's completely made me look like a fool there, but I gotta say, that was impressive. Meanwhile, it's only been a few laps, and Devon Butler is on the back of us once again, so these medium tyres, although they're not going off tyre wear wise, they seem to be just really slow. We're in a lot of trouble here. This race can't end soon enough.
Reduce the ERS deployment, please. We need to charge the battery.
No more radio. The rest of the race.
So, this is the scenario we are left with for the dying laps of this Monaco Grand Prix. A gearbox that is not faring too well. Really, really slow in a straight line, due in part to our bad power unit, but also the maximum downforce we're running with at this Monaco Grand Prix. And these feisty Red Bulls are out for a double podium here. But I'm going to do my absolute best to keep my F2 rival at bay. You saw he was very aggressive on circuit in F2. In F1 though, it looks like he's a completely different driver.
This is your final lap of the race. We're leading our teammate by 30.2 seconds.
So this is what it all comes down to. The last lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. Devon Butler pushing really hard on his medium tyres. But I've got to say, the last lap or two, I feel like there might have been a shift in power, I suppose. The hard tyres are still getting faster and faster, but maybe his tyres aren't as effective as what they used to be. So I might be reading into that too much. Maybe I've just found a little bit more confidence and that's making a bit more of a difference. But here we go, through the final chicane and into Raskas. Let's just keep it all together now. There's no way that Devon can get us on the run up to the line. It's going to be another podium in this first season of career mode. 2 podiums for Renault. I can't believe it.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Very impressive drive from Charles, by the way. He overtook us on circuit, and then I thought that we were going to encounter him some point near the end of the race, but he was so fast in that second stanza that when he pitted, he was already way up the road, and he just completely checked out in this Monaco Grand Prix in a race where there was reliability issues for Mercedes. Bottas' strategy was dreadful. I think he got caught up in the traffic. Sebastian Vettel self-destructed in this race as well. It was just an absolute calamity for his championship rivals, which sees Charles, I think, take the championship lead in this race. So, yeah, absolutely ridiculous, this Monaco Grand Prix. The pace at times was good in qualifying, but the medium tyre was quite slow. So it's hard to make of what that race was, but we got the strategy right. We didn't make any mistakes. I feel like we were fairly consistent, and we just did what we needed to do, in all honesty. We've now moved up to 4th in the Constructors, so hopefully the team is happy with that effort.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
Turning the difficulty down? I don't know. Medium tyres.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
It was all Vettel's fault. I think that's quite clear. Turned into the corner way too early and shafted himself, really. Wonder if he'll get a 5-second time penalty.
Well, thanks anyway.
That's a great result. You did really well. I don't think we can have any complaints with that performance.
Cheers, boss. That is the end of the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. So I've smashed out quite a lot of career mode episodes. I still intend to hopefully upload career mode daily, but I've got to say it's getting a little hard for me to try and keep up with the uploads. I'm only just going to get this video out kind of in time for the afternoon kind of realms of the day. So I'm going to try my best to try and keep up. But I'm also going to try and do other videos as well. Like kind of videos like I did yesterday with like how I tried to, ruin Devin Butler's career. If you haven't seen that, check it out. We crash into him a whole lot and we try and see if we can do something about his attitude problems. But yeah, it's been a good day today. Another podium, really solid points. Gives me a massive edge over Daniel. I feel like within the team, in the driver's standings, we've got I think maybe double the points that he does, maybe more. But on the rivalry side of things, he's still kicking my ass. So I need to work on the qualifying performances. That certainly is letting me down. But I feel like with a solid difficulty level now that we're going to stay at, I think I'm going to stay at 107. It's still maybe a little bit fast for me, but at the same time, it gives me that kind of dangling carrot in front of me that I need to, improve my pace and get better at the game. But what are we looking at here? Upgrades. I think I'm going to go for... It's tempting to go for the power upgrade, in all honesty. That's going to be 500 resource points. But what we could go for is a downforce upgrade, which is what I'm going to go for. We've got over 1,000 resource points. A major upgrade is 1,000. So I think it's probably for the best if we upgrade the rear downforce and knock out a major upgrade while we have the resources. Let's just go ahead and do it. We're going to be slower in the long term. Slower in the short term over the next few races. There isn't any upgrades really coming in, but towards the second half of the season, my later self will thank me for that. But that's been this video for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm going to hopefully have some B-roll of some highlights playing over the screen of Monaco. I really do love the highlights feature. F1 2019, I've got to say, it just feels like a completely new game. There's just so much that's going on, so much that's different. The whole way that I had to go about driving today in this episode was very, very different. The flow of Monaco, yeah, I had to adapt to, but it's good. The challenge is keeping me interested, which is a really big positive. But that's it from me today. Until the next race, I think it's Canada we're off to next. But I'm going to pull out the famous line, hashtag don't quote me on that. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for a brand new video, hopefully career mode.